Hello, Facebook Live world. I'm actually starting a minute early because of all my dear sweet friends who don't seem to know how Facebook Live works. So kudos to you. If this is your first time on Facebook Live, you will find out it's really not that scary after all, because while I'm sitting here saying that I'm Leigh Brown and you are here for Kicking Tail in 2017, Facebook is building my audience and setting off all your little notification alarms. And so, hey everybody, I'm Leigh Brown. If you've never met me before, I am in Charlotte, North Carolina with RE/MAX Executive Realty, and today we are going to talk business planning. Now, this is not going to be the business planning that you people are used to. Now, most people who watch business planning have come here to figure out how many phone calls they need to make X number of dollars, and that to me, y'all, is bullshit, because y'all not going to make any extra phone calls. I know y'all, I love you. You're looking for a silver bullet. I'm not going to give you a silver bullet, all right? What I'm going to give you are some really good actionable ideas for planning out your 2017. And magical surprise for y'all, that means your life is going to have to be more than the houses that you sell. It's going to have to be more than the money that you make, more than the loans that you make, and more than the business that you're running. So I'm so excited that there are at least 6 different industries that gave me a note prior to this asking for the homework. So I'm not talking just to realtors. So realtors, I love y'all, but don't get your feelings hurt. I ain't talking just to y'all today. So hey, Kevin and Maureen and Rhodey, and when y'all have questions, pipe them through on the conversation. Well, there's my favorite Bill. Hey, Bill. And so I will try to answer as I go, but you're going to have to humor me, and I'm going to try to stay on an hour. I've got my iPad set over here so that I can watch my timer, because if you know me at all, you know I'm going to run down a rabbit trail or 3 as we go. Now, as we're talking today, I have my fancy whiteboard here. I want y'all to use my hashtag for today when you're talking on Twitter or you're talking on Facebook. And it says, actually, that backwards, probably backwards on my Facebook screen. It says Kick Tail 2017. I should get a mirror here. But it says Kick Tail 2017. It's also on the title of this video. And we can't say kick ass because Facebook and Twitter don't like that. But it would make my heart kind of sing if we could make that the trend today. So these are the segments we're going to talk about. I am so aggravated right now that this is reading backwards. And I wish I'd... Actually, you know what? Hang on a second. Look here. Look, I figured it out. I'm going to turn my camera around. These are our goals for today, y'all. We're going to talk about your money. Now, when we talk about your money, we're talking about your personal money and your business money. We're going to talk about free days. If you don't know what a free day is, you fixing to find out, and it's not exactly what you guys do. Is it fixed now, y'all? Because you keep saying backwards. I thought I fixed it. Somebody tell me if I fixed my sign here so it's no longer backwards. And somebody, anybody, tell me if it's fixed. Okay, I'm just going to assume it's fixed because nobody's telling me. We're going to talk about, oh, it's still backwards? Okay, well, then let me. I thought I had it fixed, but I guess the camera wants to look at me because I'm wearing my pink today. So here we go. I don't know if this is still backwards or not, but screw it if it is. So anyway, we're going to talk about your specials, and you're going to find out what your specials are. We're going to talk about fitness and health, because y'all know me. You know that I'm going to talk to you about that, and I'm going to be real honest with y'all. And then we're going to talk about your education, because I frankly have to be the one to tell y'all not all the smartest people in the world today, but you could work on it, you know. And then we're going to talk about your spiritual goals, because I'm worried about some of y'all, frankly, and I want to let you know why I love you. And then we're going to talk about your give back goals. And so when we talk about your give back goals, you're also going to hear me use my hashtag all the time. My hashtag is hashtag more than houses. And so we're going to talk about what that means as we get into our goals today. So first thing we're going to talk about is your money. So this is a very uncomfortable conversation for y'all. So let's just get that out of the way right quick. I know that y'all like to, y'all are killing me here. So anyway, I'm done looking at my whiteboard now. So we'll just talk for a second. So when we're talking about your money, a lot of y'all make great money, but you spend all of it. And I love y'all. I'm glad you spend money. Your local economy is glad you spend money. But if you're not like me, I don't want to work at Walmart when I'm 85 years old. I'm not going to do it. I'd like to shop, and I ain't shopping at Walmart because I don't like the evil empire, but it's a different discussion. So you're going to have to save some of your money. And that means you need to be bucketing your money. So if you're not good with money, this is time for you to be honest with yourself. I want you to go find a mirror and look in it and say, I suck with money, because I know y'all, I love you, you're terrible at it. I used to be pretty bad at it, but you can get better. One of the things you can do is go to this website. It's called mint.com, and you can see what it looks like on my screen there. Mint is free. Mint is going to tell you how your money should look. It's going to put it in buckets for you so that you can see how it's supposed to land. But if you are a business owner, all right, this is all y'all own here. You own some kind of business, even if it's the business of you living at your house and running your house, that's still a business. When your money comes in, you have to bucket the money. So you're going to build 4 buckets. And a lot of this, y'all, I have been doing a long time, but the person who explained it best is Matt Bell with Hawaii Live. That dude's really brilliant. So if you're a realtor, you need to be following the Hawaii Live guys. They're so smart. So anyway, Matt said you break it down 40, 30, 20, 10. All right? So let me get my whiteboard because I've got my whiteboard now. And let me clear off our, well, shit, I can't clear our goals off. I'll forget what we're doing. So when we're going to do 40, people can hear it and see it shown. You may have it on mute. Look at the bottom of your video. If you've got an X on the microphone, I might be on mute. And I know that I'm fun to watch when I'm not talking, but I'm actually saying some good things here. So when we're talking 40, 30, 20, and 10, here's how I want your money to look, y'all. When your check comes in, you need 4 bank accounts, and some of y'all, you just need to build 4 bank accounts. This is why I do not bank with Bank of America or Wachovia, not Wachovia, whoops, shows how old I am, or Wells Fargo. And what you need to do is call your local bank. I like a small bank. I use Bank of the Ozarks here in North Carolina because they used to be Bank of the Carolinas and got sold, but I still like them. And so, it's still backwards. All right, y'all know what I'm saying, though, so pay attention to my words and don't be so hung up on these little details. So hang on a minute. Anyway, there's your 40, 30, 20, 10. Now, as I'm talking here about your numbers, and when I'm talking about 2 different buckets, when you've got those 4 bank accounts, when your check comes in, no matter what business you're running, break it up right away before you touch it, before you do anything with it. 40 is going to go into your business account. That's what you're going to use to run your business. Then you're going to put 30% in your personal account, and that's what you're going to live on. And that's hard for a lot of y'all, and I get it, that's really rough there, but you're going to have to learn how to live within your means. This is something the government could work on, you know, I'm just saying, when they all run and make them work in their budgets. 20% is going to be your tax bucket because, frankly, you probably have more than that in taxes at some point. Why am I getting an angry face? What is wrong with y'all? Come on now, I only want love and happy faces. So anyway, Sean, I saw that. Don't make me an angry face. And so on the bucket for 20%, that's your tax bucket. Now, that's a little less than you're probably going to wind up paying in taxes as your business grows, but you've got to have a bucket for it. The 10%, that's your tithe. I want y'all to be tithe, and we're going to talk about that in a minute when we get to your spiritual life. Some people are going to tithe to themselves. That's fine. I want you to tithe to the Lord. We'll get around to that moment in here in a minute. So your money's going to be broken into 4 buckets, and you're going to put that in your screen. Now, that means for a lot of y'all, especially my most wonderful people who make tons and tons and buckets of money, that means your spending's out of control. And you have got to stop spending so much, whether it's at home or in your business. So let me talk to y'all for a minute about ROI. We talk about this all the time in running your business, return on investment. However, a lot of y'all don't really know how to calculate it, all right? And that's cool because we're going to talk about how we calculate it, all right? So when we calculate your ROI, the rule that a lot of people use is this, okay? We spend $1,000, we make $1,000, we had no return on investment. So it was, you know, 0 broke even, right? But that's actually bad math, okay? Here's the thing, guys. When you're calculating what you spend, you have to take into account that there's a margin involved here and there's expenses involved in what you bring in. So if your margin, okay, so, and this might be beyond some of y'all, if this is too much, I love you. Get a bookkeeper. If you go to your local chamber of commerce, 10%, Brooke, is either tithing or retirement, but it's going to be both. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. So 10% is what you're doing with extra stuff. Kristen, it is freezing for people because we have a zillion people on here. So just keep reloading it. It'll be fine. And plus, it's going to record to my profile later. Okay, so back to this ROI. Your gross margin is the money that you're making at the end. And so you're going to have expenses involved with making that money. Okay, so you're with me? You spent $1,000, you made $1,000. You did not make $1,000 because to get the 1,000 you had to spend to get there. So what I want you to do is this. Figure out what you make per hour in the business. Now, for whatever business you're running, this is probably the most painful money exercise you'll ever do is figuring out what you made per hour in 2016. A lot of y'all are working 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week because you're working your tail off. And I appreciate your hard work because, frankly, we need hardworking people right now. So let's say that you worked 100 hours a week. Yes, you gave your soul up and you made $100,000. When you figure out what you made per hour, it's going to suck, all right? You're going to get in line with the picketers with their little signs. So what I want you to do is figure out what you made per hour. Most of y'all that run businesses are probably making in the $80 to $200 an hour range with what you're doing with commissions or with money that you make. Helping with estate sales, helping with mortgages, helping with insurance, whatever business you're running, you're making pretty good money, okay? So let's talk about $100 an hour, for example. Oh, thank y'all for sharing my video, the 4 of y'all that just did. By the way, I forgot to tell you because I get distracted easily. I'd love for y'all to hit share right now on this video and send it to your best realtor friend, your best lender friend, your best vendor, plumber, electrician, because what we're trying to do here is talk to anybody that's running a business. I really appreciate it if y'all hit share. And also down there in the bottom, y'all can mash that button that says follow if you ever want to hear more of my Facebook Live moments. Is that all I'm supposed to tell y'all? Okay, so anyway, back to this dollars per hour. So if y'all are making $100 an hour and you're spending, let's just say, 1 hour per day on something that you're doing. Let's use social media as an example. I love y'all. You love being on social media. Most of y'all can't track what you're getting from social media. So, Hawaii Life, LaKayla, he's Hawaii Life, like life is wonderful kind of thing. Okay, so on the working hours per day, hopefully y'all are working 8 hours a day. Maybe you're working 10 hours a day. But if you're working 8 hours a day, we're talking ROI, you've got to calculate the percentage of your working time involved in what you're doing, okay? So if you are working 8 hours a day, 1 hour is 12.5% of your time. Think about that for a second. We are thinking about our time as 24 hours a day, but we keep saying to the world that none of us want to work 24 hours a day. So calculate your numbers based on the hours that you're actually working. So if you're, and by the way, you know I use my yellow legal pads and my ink pens and pencils because I'm an old person. So 12.5% of your day is an hour on social media. So you're making $100 an hour, right? Because you did your calculation. You're doing pretty well. So an hour a day, y'all, that's $500 a week you spent on social media. In a month, $2,000 on social media. So now that's the money that you spent, okay? Because you could have been making it on selling houses or doing loans or doing more of what you do in your business, all right? Now, let's take that and divide it by your gross margin. So let's just say your gross margin is 35%, okay? So take the money that you spent there, that $2,000 of your time, divide it by 35%. You need to make $5,714 a month off social media to have a return on that much time, all right? So Kristen, Hawaii Life is a guy that I follow and who's very good with finances. That's why I mentioned him earlier, Matt Bell. So when you're thinking about the money that you need to make, I just told y'all it's costing you $2,000 in time to spend an hour a day on social media. If you're not making $57.14 a month, you're not making money on social media, okay? So this means you have to think of a different way to look at it, or you're going to have to bucket your time differently. So look at this in one slightly different way. Maybe you hire somebody to help you with your social media. So maybe they're not going to be you, they're not going to post for you, but they could click like and say, I got your message or whatever to help you stay focused. And you're going to spend $15 to $30 an hour on them. You're not spending as much on them as you make because you are the expert, you're the CEO of your business, right? So if you're paying them $15 to $30 an hour, that's going to be, let's say, $600 a month for the person who is making $30 an hour on an hour a day. Well, now your return just needs to be $17.14 a month for that to make sense. It's a massive difference when you calculate the gross margin. Now, some of y'all just threw up in your mouth a little bit at all those numbers. I get it. This is hard stuff. So you can go back and watch this again. It'll post in my profile. But I want you to think really clearly about your money because y'all, we have to do better. Take the pledge and get better with your money. That also means you've got to get better with investing your money. So I mentioned before that you have that extra 10%. So remember, 40% of your incoming money goes into your business account. So whatever you've got, overhead marketing and stuff, 30% is yours to spend, to live on, house payment, eat out, go buy a new jacket or something. 20% is your tax account so that you're prepared for those quarterlies because y'all pay your damn quarterlies. The government doesn't does not like it when you don't pay you money. And by the way, a little tip on that, pay the state first. The federal might work with you later. State ain't ever going to work with you. State first and federal. And then the fourth bucket, that 10%. I recommend that you tithe with that 10% because the Lord tells us to tithe. And I will tell y'all, I didn't want to do it a long time ago. The older I get, the more I know that by tithing, I receive much more than I get. And then giving above that is an offering. But anyway, look, I lost 3 viewers. Y'all don't get your feelings hurt when I ask you to tithe. You need to think about these things. Some of you might tithe if you don't believe in going to the church. You might tithe to a local nonprofit, but put it back into the community, okay? So the other 10%, though, could also be your investment account. This could be the money that you're using to buy rental properties. So let's talk about rental real estate and why everybody should be buying rental real estate. Yeah, Missy, y'all lucky in Florida, so is Wyoming and Montana. Show off. So anyway, don't forget to share the video if you're getting some good information, and don't forget to tweet Kicktail 2017 as we go. I'm Leigh Brown if you just logged in. So when we're talking about rental real estate, there is a fabulous program that I use. If you're a realtor on here, you should look into it. They won't give me a promo code because, frankly, they're stingy. It's called rentrange.com. You can see it on my screen there. RENTRANGE.com. Rentrange.com. George preach, baby. That's why you and I get along. We know. So, no, Sean, we do not roll tide, we go heels. So anyway, with Rent Range, you can actually pull comps on rental properties. They've got about 50% of the comps in the country for rental properties, which is really helpful for you in evaluating what a property should rent for. I will tell you this. Everybody who's listening to this Facebook Live should be investing in real estate because rents keep going up. I will tell you that when the market does take another downturn, you will want to have rental properties because during the dark years of 2007 to 13, my rental properties did very well. And in fact, I put some people in my rental properties who came out of short sales and foreclosures, and they were glad to have a place to go because I love to look at credit reports and see what happened in people's lives because sometimes there's a story behind their credit score. And when you are a landlord, you have a piece of that opportunity to be that community builder who listens to people and lifts them back up out of a dark place. It's a wonderful opportunity. So also, about rental properties, hire a realtor when you buy one who owns rental properties. If you call a realtor in your market and they don't own rentals, don't use them for rental properties, y'all. I love my realtor friends, but if they don't own it, they don't know it. So I'm very, very hardcore about this. And this is one of the things that is most important to me. As a realtor, I know my market, I know my community, and I also know who lives here, and I want to make sure I'm part of the housing solution. So buy rental properties. My favorite price point is $150 to $200. Elizabeth, just look back in the comments. Most of the people are putting things in the comments that I'm saying, the ones who can interpret my accent for me. Thank you. And so in the rental property market, not everybody is scary. Not every tenant is bad. Not every opportunity is perfect. So talk to a realtor who understands it, and it will change your life. My husband and I try to buy one property a year. As I was saying before, I looked down at the comments because I have a bad habit of that. We try to buy one property a year in the 150 to 200 range. That's our sweet spot because that tends to get us a pretty responsible, well-employed tenant. It's going to be the rental price range that is, oh, I love Realty Commander. That's the tracking program my office uses. Hey, Randy. So when I'm thinking about the properties that I buy, I want to hit a sweet spot for people who are employed because, yes, I want to give a home to employed people. I like to buy houses that are single family because I don't have crazy HOA dues. And I like to buy in neighborhoods where I would live. So I try to buy medium to good school districts. I'm not going to really buy in the worst school districts. I could, and some people do, but that doesn't fit my personal risk profile. And so when you're buying rental properties, your realtor should talk to you about risk profiles. Now, I will tell you, my husband and I started buying oceanfront beach properties a few years ago. That has turned out to be a major cash flow benefit for us. I don't live at the beach, but I'm down there so often. There's 2 beaches that I know very well that I could help you in. I'd have to give you a name in other areas. I don't do condos, Shelley, because of the HOA dues. Now, they do rent very well, but it messes with my cash flow. So I tend to rent. I buy single-family homes for rental. And again, they works for some people. Everybody's got a different program that works for them. And Judy, absolutely, I use a property manager because my specialty is in residential real estate. I am a residential realtor, period. I refer out the commercial. I refer out the property management because, y'all, I mean, they are dealing in a low margin, high headache business, and God bless every one of them. I had a property management division, and I sold it because I had this amazing woman running it, and she decided to be married and have kids and get a full-time regular job, so I lost her. And instead of replacing her, she was so good, I sold the division, and I'm glad to give recommendations to the people that I use because they do a very fine job. Short-term rentals, Michelle, can work. It works for me in my beach houses because they cost so much to rent. I don't have an issue with wear and tear. In a local property, I do a 12 to 24-month lease. Shelly, then you can buy something in the U.S. We can talk about how Canadians can buy properties down here. Deborah's asking if I buy properties that need work. I tend to buy properties that need carpet and paint and need a little bit of, lipstick on a pig kind of things because I can handle that personally. I don't usually buy something that's got massive structural issues or has to go down to the studs. I did that one time with one of my beach houses. My son called it the Gray Ghost when we bought it because it was so tore up. And we had to go all the way down to the studs, and we had to replace everything on that house. And we were actually still in a positive margin on that house, but I probably won't do that again because it was such a time suck. Right now, hey, Tony, I love y'all. Say hey to Tawanda. So I will tell y'all that when I'm buying rental properties, I want to buy something that is going to have good equity upside. So when you're thinking about rentals and your money, some people want cash flow. And so if you need income coming in, you'll put more money down so that you have more cash flow. I'm still medium aged. And so as I'm looking at properties to buy, I'm thinking about equity upside more so than cash flow. Right now, I want my tenants to cover the team and to cover the house, and I want to have equity upside in the future, which is why I'm focused on single family and low HOA environments that are in medium to better school districts. I did used to buy out of state, Tracy. It depends on the state. Now I only buy out of state in areas where I have massively strong realtor connections and the cash flow is great and the taxes don't eat me alive. I sold my South Carolina properties because the taxes were eating me alive. South Carolina has dual taxation on property tax. They tax investors higher than they tax regular homeowners, and that was eating up my cash flow, so I sold those and moved on. Plus, I will tell y'all, I had to sell the one because my tenant was incarcerated for drunk driving after he came home and drove his truck into the townhouse next to the townhouse I owned, and it was kind of a nightmare. And so, that happens every now and then. Maybe I should add that to my podcast, my Crazy Shit in Real Estate podcast, which if you're not listening to it, totally log in and listen and share your stories with me. Anyway, so that was the money piece. You're going to go to mint.com and work on your own money. If you're a realtor, you're going to look at rentrange.com. Oh, Rhodey, 3 to 4 year, you rock on. And so what's going to happen next is, by the way, if you are one of my clients listening to this, I will send you the rent range reports whenever we're looking at properties because they're full of fantastic little bits and pieces that can be helpful. Next thing we're going to talk about in our talking here is free days. And I know y'all are wondering when I'm going to get to your homework. Patience, grasshoppers, we're going to get there because some of y'all ask for it and some of you, frankly, are realtors and you don't read things. So free days are your vacation days. And I had a little heart-to-heart meeting about this with my friend Denny Wood in Alaska when I was in Alaska earlier this week. So I love Denny. He was saying how many days off he took this year. And I love him. But a day off when you're doing real estate, that's not a free day, okay? So a free day means you gave your business reins to someone else to manage for the day. Nancy, can you go back and, y'all can go back and listen to the recording. I'm going to have to keep going, and I love y'all for paying attention. For investment properties, for me personally right now, it's coming out of other buckets because my 10% goes to tithe. It usually comes out of the 30 that comes into the house. The podcast is Crazy Shit in Real Estate. LaKayla says I'm talking too fast. Thank you, baby. I'll do better. I'll try anyway. So a free day means you took a day off. That means you put your phone down and cut it off. And I don't mean silent. I mean off. I mean your email, off. Twitter, off. Facebook, off. Unplug. And unplug does not mean only check in on the fun things. Unplug means unplug. And I know, panic for real. It is so panicky to do this. The first time I about had an anxiety attack. When I first did this, it was in 2012. And that's when I learned how to give my email to my fantastic administrative partner, Virginia. I gave her my password. And I said, you deal with it, and you're going to have to deal with it because I was so beyond stressed out, I couldn't manage, y'all. And that's what happens in small business. You are the one that makes the sun shine, and you make the rain come, and you make everything happen, and I get that, and I love you. But the world is not going to stop turning if you take a day off and breathe. And you have to, y'all. We aren't doing enough of it. We are in panic mode all the time. And all of y'all that are saying you've never had a free day, I hear you. I hadn't done it in years and years until I did it in 2012. And I found out the world still went on. And one of the things we honestly have to do, y'all, is stop bragging about how we haven't had a day off. That drives me completely batshit crazy when I watch y'all on the internet and you are bragging about how you're so busy. Oh, I'm just so busy. Whoa, I'm just so busy. I'm exhausted. I can't handle it anymore. Stop it. Just stop it, stop it, stop it. You being exhausted is hurting your business. It's hurting your clients. And every time y'all get online and brag about how you are so busy that you haven't had a day off, you're giving the message to everybody listening. And they're all listening, y'all. They listen all the time. It's like your kids in the back seat, they hear it all. They think you're too busy for them. And this is a major problem. You're not too busy for another client, especially not another great client. You need to be focused on taking care of yourself because that will take care of your business. Now, those of y'all that are listening that have a business that's in its burgeoning days, you're newer to the game, you're trying to get better, I get it. It's hard to take a day off. I get it. But you have to do it. You have to do it. Working 24/7 does not help your business. What does help your business is you being a human being and being involved in your community and being a mama or a wife or a husband or a kid. You have got to do it. Lisa, you can totally do it. 22 days off, your business will actually explode. See, Brenda, you helped that new agent grow by handing your business off. Y'all, raise your right hands right now and say, Leigh Brown, I pledge to stop bragging about being busy. 1, 2, 3, go. Look, Leigh Brown, I pledge to stop bragging about being busy. Now put that in your hashtag #KickTail2017. All right, now. The third category we're going to roll into is your specials. And this kind of goes into the whole taking care of your people and busy thing. My specials are my people that are this close to me, all right? This close. And I love all y'all, but that's not y'all. This is my husband because he's my first husband. And I plan to keep it that way because it's just too much aggravation to start over. And he's a fantastic catch. So I'm not letting anybody else catch him. So I'm going to keep my husband in here and my children. I got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. They are very, very special. I've still got my mama. Those of y'all that don't have your mama, you know how important it is to keep up with her while you got her. I've still got my daddy. I've still got my in-laws, and they are fantastic people. And I've got my best friend who is coming live out of breast cancer. You think I'm not going to call her? She's my special, y'all. And in real estate, I have about 5 really, really, really special friends that I would trust with anything. And I love y'all. You're wonderful, fabulous people. But you should know that your list of specials is going to be 10 or less. So know who your specials are. For those of y'all that just joined, hey, oh, there's Marcus. Hey, I miss y'all. And hey, Ashton, you're my spiritual soulmate. When we're talking about your specials, I want y'all to call them every day. Somebody on your list. Make that list of 5 to 10 people and call one of them every day. And what I want you to call and say is, hey, I love you. What you doing? It does not have to be a soliciting call or an anything at all call. Just a, hey. You've got to be connected to the special people if you want the rest of the world to like you at all. And when all of y'all are building your businesses, you've got to call on cold people who don't know you. And that's all fantastic because I know that you want to talk to them and want them to love you. And so if you want them to love you, you're going to have to feel good first. Okay? So don't call the nasty people and then wonder why you feel like an empty bucket. If you will call your specials first and make them a part, oh, Vicki, I can't figure it out. You can look earlier in the video. You saw all the words are the same. I'm just pointing at it. But with specials, I want you to think about this. Every day when you wake up, your bucket's maybe not full because you had something that happened the day before, or maybe you're just tired, you didn't get enough sleep, or you don't know. But what I want you to do is fill your bucket up. Fill your bucket up in the morning. I fill mine up with daily devotions and with the Bible, okay? And then I fill it up by hugging and kissing my husband and my kids every single day that I'm home. If I'm not here, y'all have seen me FaceTiming my kids. I get up from the supper table when we're out having realtor events to go talk to my kids when they FaceTime me because they're my specials and they fill my bucket up. And that way when I run into an asshole in the world, my bucket doesn't go empty. They might take a scoop out, but I can fill it back up right quick. If I start my day with an empty bucket and then the assholes show up, they will just make it feel like the hole has completely fallen into the bottom. So call your specials. That's actually sounding a little bit warm and fuzzy for me, I know, y'all, but this is critical. This is a big part of your business plan. I know, right? Your business plan includes your specials. All right, so the number 4 thing we're going to talk about is is your fitness and health. Y'all knew I was going here. Y'all got to get off your dead asses and do something. Y'all are killing me here. Killing me with all the excuses of, I don't have time, I don't run, I don't walk, my knees hurt, my hips hurt. And y'all have got so many excuses, it's actually going to fill up a whole book for me. I get it. Things happen. Things get in your life. You don't feel good. You got an injury, or you can do something. You could do something. I don't know if it's swimming or going to the mall and riding on a scooter. You know, I broke my ankle in July, and it was a moment for me because I had to learn how to occupy myself without my running. Well, I did. I got on my knee scooter, and I rode up and down the sidewalks of San Francisco, and Brad Inman was kind enough to let me continue my MC role. I rolled up and down the stage, and I managed because I keep moving. Guys, you have to get moving. Part of the reason you don't exercise, and I know this because I didn't exercise until 2012, and I realized after I did a photo shoot for CRS that I had packed on some pounds, and my mama had warned me about the saddlebags showing up in my middle years. Lord knows I had grown saddlebags, and I don't want to have them because they're just not attractive, and I just didn't want it. So I decided I was going to exercise, and then I've already mentioned Virginia before, and she's the one that made me start running because you need a bossy friend in your life who loves you enough to boss you around. And so I became a runner to get my life back, all right? And when I got the shadows and the cobwebs out of my head by running, I found out that I'm actually a better person than I had gotten to be because I had turned into kind of a nasty person because I was not healthy. Your health matters. And by the way, you got to cut sugar out of your life. Sugar feeds cancer. And I think Barbara Dudek is on here, and Barbara will tell you that. She's helping her husband fight cancer right now. Oh, I love Orange Theory too, Jennifer, because it's competitive. If you're a competitive soul, go to Orange Theory. I also love my Burn Boot Camp girls because Burn is where I go to cross-train against running. But I don't care what it is. You got to do something. In fact, I'll tell you all this. I go to that boot camp over at Burn, and my mama goes. My mama won't let me tell her age, but she's older than I am, and she doesn't color her hair anymore. I'm still determined to color mine. She is the oldest person in Burn, and she's in there doing it every day. And if a woman that's in her later years can do a burpee, y'all can get off your dead ass and do something too. So quit whining about it and do it. And by the way, if the wine and the beer are part of your problem, stop drinking the wine and the beer. Now, let's talk. Look, y'all quit commenting while I was fussing at you. Ha! Because you know I'm right. Go on and call me your mama hen. You know I'm right. Now, the next one we're going to talk about is your education, okay? So, you don't know everything. I know this is a big problem for some of y'all that you think you do. And I'm going to, I told y'all to put your big girl panties on. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. I'm learning every single day, okay? So where you're going to learn depends on what you need in life. So here, thank you, Pat. Whole30 is amazing. And actually, I found out that's why I shouldn't be eating rice and drinking milk. It was aggravating my system. So let's talk about where you're going to learn. And I'm going to point at my screen again. It's probably backwards because apparently I don't know how to work things. And what you see on my computer screen right now is a screenshot of my very favorite podcast, which is not my own, actually, because mine is still growing. It's called Crazy Shit in Real Estate again. This one is called I Love Marketing. All right, that's ilovemarketing.com. It is run by Joe Polish and Dean Jackson, and I love their podcast. In fact, one of their podcasts is the whole reason I decided to do this, okay? So it was by a man named Cameron Herold, and there's Cameron on my screen. He's kind of a silver fox, isn't he? Can you see how pretty he is? I know y'all can see because, I like some eye candy. Who doesn't? And so Cameron Herold wrote this book called Double Double, which was one of my big aha business books. Oh, yeah, Susan, totally get some Fitbit crowd. Y'all talk in the comments. I know that Maureen in Michigan will kick your butt, and so will Jay Thompson. They have a big Fitbit challenge going on all the time, fighting over steps. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen. But anyway, Cameron Herold did episode, which one was this? Episode 271. Episode 271 on ilovemarketing.com, okay? So he talks about your vivid vision. Okay, so we're talking about education now a little bit, then we're going to actually flip into visioning for a minute. Let me check my clock here because I know y'all have appointments to get to. When we're talking about education, I have to go where I'm fed. Some of y'all have been in the business so long, you don't go to your association offices anymore. I get that. That's why a lot of us on the realtor levels of state, local, and national are working really, really hard to get better education for you in your association offices. I totally get that. So what I want you to do is if you're not getting fed there, first of all, volunteer for the Education and Professional Development Committee so we can get better ideas. but go find something that will feed your business. So you've got to talk to people. Go outside your circles to find your education. I don't get all of my education from real estate. I like to provide to real estate. I go to other marketing environments and other association environments. So I go to I Love Marketing. So that's where I met Cameron Herold, and I read Double Double, and I listened to this thing about the vivid vision. Now I want you to stay with me here, okay? Because this is going to feel a bit much. I sent y'all an article from the Harvard Business Review about the elements of value. If you didn't get that article, just send me a message and I'll be glad to share it, because Harvard Business Review lets me share it because they're awesome. And that's one of the magazines that I read religiously. I read Harvard Business Review, and I used to read Wired, but then they got really political and it made my stomach hurt, so I quit reading it. And I read Runner's World, and everything else I read in Snip. It's on my Texture app, which is on my iPad. So Naomi, I know, girl, we talked about this elements of value earlier. So I know that sending y'all something from Harvard Business Review felt like a bit much, because that's not how we think of ourselves as small business people. We tend to get really, really, really blinders focused into our own little tiny worlds in our own industries, but you learn so much more when you go outside. So let's talk about the elements of value. And I asked y'all to look at page 7, where it's got the elements of value pyramid. And if you didn't read it in advance, I'm going to move my, I don't really know if I'm doing this. Somebody tell me if it looks correct or if it's backwards. Is that backwards or correct? Somebody say correct or backwards. Quick, quick, quick. And yeah, Texture is an app for your iPad, Brenda, where you can get all the magazines for like $16 a month and you don't get paying for them. Thanks, Deborah. Okay, so on the elements of value, I asked y'all to figure out where your business is operating. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of y'all wrote me back and said, I'm on most of these. And I'm going to be the one to tell you, as I've already said before, that's bullshit. You are not operating on all of these. I love y'all. I'm not operating on all of these. And I'm selling a whole bucket load of houses. My business is doing really great. Our brokerage is full of the most amazing agents in Charlotte. And by the way, if you need somebody in Charlotte, I hope you're going to pay me back for this Facebook Live thing by sending me your Charlotte buyers and sellers. But anyway, on here, I want you to figure out what you're doing well. Okay, so most people in small business, we are not in social impact. We are not doing self-transcending things. I think y'all would agree with me on that. Looking in life-changing, I had a lot of people tell me, well, I motivate. Well, no, you don't. Not all the time. Sometimes you do. Okay, and so when you're looking at the elements of value, if you're doing it sometimes, then it's something that you want to circle and focus on. Maybe you could get better at it. But if you're not doing it all the time and you're not like kicking ass at it, it's not your wheelhouse. So providing hope. Sometimes realtors do that, but it's not all the time. Sometimes y'all go in and take hope away, and that's part of our job. And then we look down into emotional. I love how some realtors think they provide therapeutic value. Well, you know what? Y'all are not licensed therapists. Please don't call yourself therapists. I know you do some stuff. And when you are doing some stuff, that doesn't make you a therapist. So be careful about what you say. No, Jennifer, this is just a page out of the article that I shared. And so think about what we're doing in our small businesses. And some of these things down on the functional level, y'all are probably doing 2 or 3 of these pretty darn well. Do you reduce effort for people? Probably, but you're not telling them what you're doing, so you got to talk about that. Do you inform people? That's the best thing some of y'all do in your small businesses. Do you connect people? Do you help save people time, reduce cost? And so, list. It's very easy to start giving yourself a whole lot of leverage and saying, oh, I'm good at all of it, because we are very good at liking ourselves. That's why you're entrepreneurs. You believe in yourself, and I'm so glad for that. But in order to get better at your business and to change 2017, you got to have a little come to Jesus meeting with yourself. And I want you to look at this article and decide, what are you doing that you do 100% of the time that you do really, really, really well? Because for most of y'all, it's 1 or 2 things, okay? And for most of y'all, the 1 or 2 things that you do, Naomi, I'm not supposed to share it on social. You can recommend the article on Harvard Business Review, though. So if you go to harvardbiz.org or hbr.org, you can probably share the article from there if you have a subscription. Otherwise, you can tell people about the article and that they can subscribe to Harvard Business Review. Or, oh, thanks, Bill, probably because I turned the phone around. Or you can have them message me and I'll send a copy out. So I want you to think about those 1 or 2 things that you do really, really well, okay? And when you think about the things that you're doing really, really well, that's where your marketing should be for 2017. If you are somebody who's in your business, you are the organizer. You're the one who makes things happen. You check off the boxes and cross the T's and dot the I's. Tell people that in your messaging for your small business. And if you are somebody who provides high quality, you charge like the dickens, but they get for it. Make sure you talk to people about that. This is not about using the same marketing you've always used or using the same slogans you've always used. This is about telling people what you, the one you listening to me right now, what you are good at. What do your clients love about you and say about you? Find that 1 or 2 things and boil it down and share it. And the reason I tell y'all to put your ego to the side here, y'all, of all these things, Apple's only on 11 of them at a high level. Apple, y'all are not Apple. None of y'all are Apple. I love y'all. I'm not Apple either. So that's where I'm working on it. In fact, my team and I, when we had our team advance, we were focusing on what are we good at right now? What are we almost really good at so we can work on those items next? Where do we want to go in the future? And so I bring that up now because as we think about the elements that you're really, really good at, go back to looking at this Vivid Vision and Cameron Herold and the Double-Double. So his book, Double-Double, talks about doubling your revenue in 3 years, which some people could do, but frankly, they lack the focus to do it. And so that's what we're starting with here is the thinking process that will help you focus in on what's going to change your business. So when we think about the Vivid Vision, Kimberly, a new agent, look at your past life. Okay, that's a fantastic question. She says, what does a new agent focus on marketing about themselves? What is your past life full of? If you were a teacher, you were probably a fantastic educator, maybe a great organizer. Focus on those bits. If you were a healthcare professional, you might have been great at triage and the diagnosis of the problem. Talk about that too, because in real estate, all of those skills translate in. The new agent should never ever say these things, okay? So any of y'all using this in your marketing? Stop. If you are telling people that you get them the most money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassles, you're lying. Y'all, none of y'all can promise those 3 things. Please stop it. Any mortgage lender who's promising the lowest rate with the lowest fees and the fewest hassles, liar, you can't promise that either. Stop. Why do we promise things that we can't fulfill because y'all can't control larger market issues? If I'm a plumber, I'm not going to promise that I can fix every leak because I would be the one to wager that there's something somewhere that hadn't been fixed, but I bet you could diagnose where the problem is. And so talk about where your strengths are and what you bring to the table. And it's got to be more than what the average person is thinking it is, okay? So anyway, back to our Vivid Vision. So what Cameron Herold talks about in this 271 podcast on I Love Marketing is your 3-year vision. And this is where he kind of cracked me up because at the beginning he says to throw out your current vision statement because it's crap. And he's totally right because we all write vision statements and mission statements and they are crap because they all sound like marketing speak. I am a real estate professional and I love people. Blah, blah, blah. It's all crap. So don't be crap, be who you are. So that's why I said if you know what your elements of value are that you bring to the table. So we'll use our organized person as an example because a lot of fantastic realtors are super organized or they've hired super organized people, and that's another one of the elements you have to work on is surrounding yourself with the right people. So when we're talking about that piece, let's talk about what that means for your future. So if you're organized today and you looked at the elements of value pyramid and you said, well, I'm almost good on these other 4 things, so that's what I'm working on. That's in your 3-year vision. And so Cameron says, look at 3 years out what you want your business to look like. And I don't mean 3 years from now I want more money and more life and more fun and more vacations. That's not a definition of anything. That's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And so don't do that. Be very specific about what your business looks like. And he's really smart because he explains that you're better off doing this outside of your office environment. And in fact, if you want to know why I'm doing this from home, it's because at my office, I will have people that stop by and say, hey, you got a minute? Or the emails will go, or the phone will ring, or something will happen. And so if I'm doing planning and visioning, it's away from the office environment. So think about where y'all can go and hide to get things cranking in the right direction. And so if I'm looking 3 years out, I know what my ideal client looks like now. I know what I want my business to look like. I know how many days a week I plan to be working. I know how many speaking events I'm planning to do, and I know how many places I plan to go and what I plan to be speaking about and to whom I'm speaking, because my life obviously has different paths. I've got the speaking and educating path, and I've got the selling houses path. So my 3-year vision, I am trying to look at what 3 years out looks like on those fronts. And I've also got to know what my 3-year vision looks like on these fronts too. What have I done to preserve myself for retirement? It's buying rental houses. Again, 1 a year, that's my goal. And what am I doing for free days? How many am I taking? What am I doing with my specials and for my specials and so on? So these categories all play in to that 3-year vision that Cameron Herold talks about. So highly recommend that you listen to I Love Marketing podcast. I don't care what business or life you're in, you will totally get something out of his episode 271 where he talks about his vivid vision. Now, let's talk about, where was I? That was on education. I would be remiss if I did not remind y'all that I am the national president for the Council of Residential Specialists this year, and in real estate, that's the top designation. And being the top designation means they have rested on their laurels as an organization for quite some time, and over the last couple of years, there's a lot of work going on to rejuvenate and re-energize the organization. And so this year, I am hoping that some of the new classes will hit the street. 17 new classes for realtors. Hey, mortgage lenders, if you're smart, you'll go to class with your realtor so that you know what they're learning and you could be a really great source. Yes, Kathy, RPAC comes from my 30%, and I will actually get to RPAC here in a minute. Nice try trying to make me get there faster. Now, we talked about your educational life, and now we're going to talk about your spiritual life. And I know some of y'all don't want to hear me say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Jesus is my best friend, and God is my daddy. And so that's where I start my day. That's where my marriage revolves. And that's what I'm trying to do as a mama, is make sure my children know who loves them no matter what. And if you're listening to this, don't jump off because you don't know Jesus and you don't know God. He's a real good guy. He loves everybody. He wants to know you actually more than you want to know him. And he's just waiting. He's right there beside you right now, waiting on you to say that you'd like to know who he is. My life is better when I am trying to be the better person that God created and that Jesus loves. Because I screw up a lot, y'all. You might not know this about me, but I have made a couple of mistakes in life. And whenever I do make a big mistake, I go back and I read this book by Beth Moore. She is one of my favorite Bible teachers, and she's actually pretty darn hilarious on Twitter if you're not following her. She's in the Houston area, and she wrote a book called A Heart Like His about King David. And if you want to know about the man who did everything wrong, and so when everything's wrong, God said, you know what, David, it's cool. I still love you. Say you're sorry, and let's carry on. And so, you know what, James? I am so glad that you want to talk to your mama about this, because Jesus loves you. He loved the people nobody else loved. That's one of the coolest things about Jesus. Other people, the good, cool people that had all the money and all the power, they didn't need him. But the people at the edge, oh, Jesus went straight for them. You talk about the guy I want to be? I'm working on it. And don't you tell me I'm bad at it, because I know I'm working on a center. So anyway, the last one I want to talk to you about in your business plan is your give back. So when we talk about your give back, this is a couple of different things that I want it to look like. So I know this is not normal business planning, and I appreciate y'all hanging. Oh, that's right. You tell her I love her too. All right, we're good, Jennifer. Now, on the more than houses bit, giving back is a couple of really big things. One of them is RPAC. Kathy snooked me in there early. RPAC is the Realtor Party, okay? That is the Realtor Political Action Committee. Now, North Carolina just found out this week that we're going to have to re-primary a lot of our districts because the federal overreach that's going on says we're going to have to set a whole bunch of new representatives. You want to talk about something that makes me mad? That's it. But the Realtor Party says, you know what? We're going to go shoulder to shoulder, figure out who in these areas is going to work together for property rights. And so if you want to talk about why you hate politics this year, I get it. It's been a very contentious time, and a lot of people who used to be loving each other have turned sour. Well, the Realtor Party is really cool because what we do is focus on property rights for residential owners, commercial owners, and investors. And our job is to make sure that people in the United States have the right to buy and sell property, and that realtors have the right to run their businesses as entrepreneurs. If you want to know what it's like to not not have a PAC. Ask mortgage lenders how TRID would look a little differently if they had more influence with our elected officials. And the thing about our PAC is it's not a special interest group. And those of y'all that are listening that are not realtors, you have to know that your very best realtors, we are fighting for you to have the right to buy and sell real estate. That's one of the things that we do. We're not just doing houses. And that's why my hashtag is more than houses. The best realtors are working in their communities. They are protecting the right to buy and sell property on the local, state, and national levels. Big deal. The other more than houses piece is, what are you doing in your community? A lot of y'all are already doing stuff, but it's not really planned. You're just kind of showing up here and there, and maybe you write a check when somebody runs a marathon for the Leukemia Society or whatever, and I'm not belittling those efforts. Those are a very big deal to have those small things happening. However, you will have more impact in your community if you plan your give back. So as you think about your give back, I want you to think about your passions. What makes you get really, really excited to roll your sleeves up and do more? Is that Habitat for Humanity? Is it Meals on Wheels, where you're delivering meals to homebound seniors for the most part who don't have anybody else? Is it your local church where you're working in their ministries? Is it your local politics? Are you serving as a city councilman or a school board member? Red Cross is a great one, Catherine. So you think about what makes you get really excited. That's where your give back should be. Don't make it 12 things. Make it 1, maybe 2, but make it something really big. Boys and Girls Club was a wonderful thing that President Tom brought to us this last year. And I know a lot of realtors have found that the impact is gigantical when you go volunteer, become a mentor, and do some tutoring or some working in the local Boys and Girls Clubs, not just writing checks. And so think about all of the different ways and find yours and dial into it, and you give back. Now for me, my give back as a family, we're doing Meals on Wheels, plus we do our church. We've done Habitat for Humanity in the past, and I'll probably get more involved with them again because I do have a very big heart for Habitat, but right now the kids totally dig Meals on Wheels because they're age appropriate to do it. And so that's big for our family. And as a realtor, this is what I do, y'all. I want to tell you what makes my business successful so that your business can be more successful. If you've been receiving something good that's helped you, you got an idea, you got a boost up, you got a business tool, share it with somebody else. Go to your local association and volunteer for a committee. And if you don't like the local association or the committees, we kind of need you even more, because when you don't like it, that means there's room for growth and improvement. Volunteer somewhere in the association level, because our associations matter to consumers. And we forget that as realtors, lenders, we need you involved with us. We love our affiliate members. My outline, Shelly, I don't know what outline you're talking about, but I'll hold up my there's the goal segment, so that's what you're talking about. So anyway, when I'm talking about your give back, I could be making a lot more money, y'all, selling houses than I am right now, okay? I could be doing more prospecting. I could be getting more houses on the market and more buyers working right now. Yes, I could. But I also know that as realtors, we get beat. As lenders, you get beaten down a lot. Every small business gets beaten down. In fact, I had a really fun conversation with a man who came to my house earlier to fix my garage door, which was busted, and then my husband tried to fix it, and then it got extra busted, but he didn't mean to. And so we needed the repairman to come. Well, he's a one-man business, and he said, "Would you please write me a review?" I said, "Absolutely, I will." And he said, "I hope that it won't affect my review that I was late yesterday." And I said, "No, it won't, because you said, snap, I forgot. I made a mistake. I'm sorry." I said, "I totally honor and respect anybody that makes a mistake and takes care of things. I'll give you a great review. I love supporting local business. And part of my give back is the reviews and the recommendations and the training and the teaching." And so do something, guys. Don't talk about it. Social media is fantastic for talking, but I need you to take action. I'm asking all of my CRS members this year for 1 hour, hashtag 1 hour, to give an hour to the organization. Somehow, some way, bring somebody to a class, take a class, make real estate better, go to an event, bring something more to the table than houses. I get it, you guys sell houses. I get it that all of y'all that are in business, you make money, and I'm so glad that you do, but it's our responsibility as the most successful people in society to go out and bring more people into our circles. This is not about the whole diversity talk where we're siloing things. For me, it's about inclusion. My circle is big enough for all of y'all. So what I'm going to ask you to do is help me expand that circle and bring some more people into it. When you click follow on this video, you can hear more from me. And when you need it, let me know. If you want me to provide some topics for you, shoot me a message and give me a list of stuff to work from. I'm going to do a listing webinar next week. It won't be free, but I will provide data for you on doing better listings for your realtors. I'd be really honored if you would take that class and make your listings better for your clients and better for your community. I'd be honored if you bought my book, Outrageous Authenticity, because I think it's a really good read. It's 45 minutes, so it's totally realtor friendly. And I hope that you will maybe show up on my podcast. If you've got a real funny story to share, let me know about that too. But most importantly, thank you to everybody who logged in today. I hope that you got one small, tiny tidbit of an idea that will at least germinate so that you can change your business and change your community. And I hope I will see you around on Facebook, Twitter, and in real life.